What's happening, guys? It's Cooper Carter here for G66, and on this week's Fractal Friday, I'm going to show you my #1 guitar recording best practice trick that you may not be using, and show you just how easy it is to get into a good habit of doing it with your Fractal unit. There are likely countless techniques that could be considered best practice for recording guitar, and the number of those techniques and how closely you adhere to them when recording guitar probably changes based subjectively on who's playing, who's recording it, what the producer wants to hear, and of course, certainly based on what types of gear you're using. But for my money, one of the most important and thankfully one of the most basic and easy to implement tricks for recording guitar is to record a DI signal along with your recorded track. Now, some of you out there may be thinking, why do I need a DI signal? I've spent all of this time getting an amazing guitar tone. And the answer for many players may be as simple as that it makes it easier to edit and comp together guitar parts when you have a clearer view of the transients with a DI signal. Especially when you're recording a distorted guitar signal, it can be difficult to visually see where exactly the beginning of your notes is. And a DI track makes this very easy when it's recorded in tandem with a fully processed guitar recording. A slightly more advanced, but certainly no less important and useful reason for recording a DI along with your processed signal may be that later on you find out you're not as big of a fan of your guitar tone as you thought you were for that particular part, and you can simply use the DI to reamp the guitar part with a completely different sound. This is a basic guitar recording technique that I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any engineer who wouldn't say it's a good idea, and I certainly don't think there are any players who wouldn't benefit from getting into this habit. If you're an analog player with a standard amplifier, cabinet, and microphone recording setup, you're going to need some extra gear to get a DI signal into your recording interface. But like with so many things in Fractal Land, with just a few mouse clicks, you can have yourself set up and ready to record with a DI signal always there so that you can reap the same benefits from it that the pros do. Let me show you how. So I'm here in Reaper, which is the DAW that I like to use with the Axe-Fx. It's very straightforward and very simple, but also extremely powerful. And I'm using the Axe-Fx 3 here as my audio driver via USB. The same USB cable that I'm using to power the Axe-Fx 3's editor is powering the Axe-Fx 3's USB audio driver. So you want to make sure that in whatever DAW you're in, you have all of your inputs and outputs active. So you want to make sure inputs 1 through 8 and outputs 1 through 8 are available to you. And all I need to do to record both a fully processed signal and a DI at the same time is create 2 tracks. Tell this first track to record a stereo input off of USB input 1 and 2, which is the output of output 1 block left and right. And now I'll tell this second track to record a mono signal off of USB input 5, which is input 1 or the instrument jack on the front of the Axe-Fx 3. So when I arm these tracks, you'll see that I get signal in both. And you'll already see that this second track has a level that's lower than the first track. And you're also seeing these level meters jump a lot more on the second track because those transients that are coming right off the guitar's output are a lot more pronounced than the transients that are coming from the Axe-Fx 3's fully processed, compressed, distorted, spitty amplifier. I'm using a very high gain amp here, the Bridge AVM OD1. So let's do a little bit of recording. And if we listen back, you can hear the fully processed signal. And the DI signal. And if we expand this track, you see that I have a much clearer view of where I'm actually playing these chords as opposed to on the fully processed signal where we have much more of a monolithic waveform here from the compressed, distorted amplifier. And any DAW you're using will have the ability to group these 2 tracks together so that any edits that I make here will translate to both. So if I wanted to cut that out and come over here, copy this one in, I have a much clearer view of what I'm doing based off the DI track. And of course, this could also be used for reamping, which we can cover in another video. If anybody is interested in that, please do leave me a comment below and let me know what you would like to see in an upcoming Fractal Friday. Now, if you are not using your Fractal unit as a USB audio interface it is still very easy to get a DI signal out of the back of the unit for easy recording alongside your fully processed signal out of output 1. All you need to do is go to the setup screen in your unit's editor, go to the audio page, and under output 3 or 4, you can simply go to copy input 1 and turn it from off to on. And now output 3, which is designed to be used as a unity gain output, can be turned all the way up on the front level knob for unity gain, and you will have a perfect copy of what is entering the unit at input 1 coming straight off your guitar at output 3. So you can then send output 1 left and right into your audio interface, and output 3 or output 4, whichever you choose, into the audio interface in a separate input as your DI signal, record both at the same time, and you will have exactly what you see here without USB audio. So whether you want to capture a DI for safety and reamping later, or you want it there for a better visual representation of your part playing for easy comping, which I have done many times, it is very easy, and I highly encourage you guys to start recording a DI signal along with your fully processed guitar. As with a lot of the most recent Fractal Fridays, this week's episode came from a question that I got, this time from one of Fractal's larger artists who called asking what's the best way to get a DI out of the Asphyx 3, since he already knew that this is a great practice and habit to get into when you're recording guitar. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, I was happy to tell him that in Fractal Land, things are very straightforward. With a couple simple mouse clicks, you can get a DI, you don't need any extra gear, and you can record all those tracks simultaneously. So, point is, if you guys have something that you would like to see on Fractal Friday, please do leave me a comment in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to G66's channel, and as always, if you guys want to dive even deeper into your Fractal Audio Systems unit, whether that's the Asphyx 3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com for my complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. And as always, for all things Fractal Audio Systems, keep it right here on G66, and I will see you guys on Fractal Friday next week, and stay tuned for a very special Fractal Friday coming soon.